none of us really know. None of us really know.
I know.
No, I know. Perfect timing, Keith.
Keith, what's up?
Your favorite movie of all time. F9.
Oh, good.
How is there any other choice than Remember the Titans being number one?
I'm curious.
I'm spoiling mine, but
Well, let's see. Here we go. Yeah, that's a good, good
I'm
question,
not even
Brian.
done talking.
you shouldn't be talking at this point.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Apocaflix now. If it's your first time viewing, and welcome back if you joined us before. This is our movie hangout show where we do a bunch of cool movie-related stuff. I am your host this evening, Jacob Bartley. And no, that is not Jake Berlin in your bottom left-hand or right-hand corner. We'll introduce our special guest here in a second. I'm going to introduce Gio Ramos first. How you doing, Gio?
Good. Actually, I'm tired. I've worked 10 of the last 11 days, and I'm here, and I'm caffeined up. So let's do this.
Nice. You got your cup of caffeine. I got my cup of, I won't say what's in here. We're all doing good. Brian Avalosino, how you doing, man?
I'm a nervous wreck.
We missed you last week.
Yes. Oh my God. Parent-teacher conferences. I'll trade you any day. Nervous wreck. Playoffs for baseball is happening. As you can see. Red Sox.
I always think you're an A's fan, Brian, but I forget you're.
I don't mind the A's, but no, they're playing the Yankees right now, and I won't say more because I'll jinx it.
I'm surprised you didn't take the night off.
Multi-watching, so yes.
Awesome. And of course, we have Sean Wingblade in the house. You might have seen him on the Schmodown here and there. He also has his own thing, Watching with Wingblade, and he appears on Jesse Swift's Flick and Reel. Sean, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. Appreciate being invited on. And yes, I'm watching the game right above the screen as well. So if you keep seeing me, look up. But of course, I mean, being from Sacramento, we are Giants fans through and through. As all things, as you should.
As am I. Right here, you can see my flag right here. Very exciting stuff. That's a discussion for another day.
Different
here.
show.
I can't wait till you guys go out first round.
No, don't. Boo you.
I just don't want to play the Dodgers. I really don't. But yeah, like I said, we could talk about that all day another time. If you've joined us here before, you know the first thing we usually do here is the movie watching challenge. And I'm failing because I haven't found a logo, and I told Brian not to do it, so I can do it. And there we go.
There you go.
There we go. And if you don't know what this is, every week one of us gets challenged to watch a movie that we have never seen before. We recently switched up the way we do it. We're now doing direct challenges where somebody picks the direct person and exactly what movie they want them to watch. Gio, you were challenged to watch Cape Fear last week. You haven't got around to it yet, which happens around here. We only have 1 week and we're all busy, so no worries. You're not the first one to do that. But we will have a separate video for Cape Fear up later this week. But nonetheless, we have to continue the cycle, Gio. So you have chosen a new person and what movie you want them to watch. So who might that be?
Brian.
Oh,
you are challenged, sir. And
if I'm challenged, then Jacob, you have to push the button because I haven't looked yet.
Oh, okay.
And this movie is from a director who has a movie coming out in 2 weeks. The movie I've chosen for you is Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners, starring Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Terrence Howard.
Interesting. I know nothing about this movie.
Oh my God!
And you're missing a important cast member, Gio. He's playing
Paul
the Riddler in the Paul Dano, who's
and
incredible
David
in that
Dastmalchian.
movie. Yes. Wow, Brian, you haven't seen Prisoners?
I don't even know anything about it.
I might join you in that. I've never seen Prisoners either.
Yeah,
It's one I haven't avoided it. Just hasn't come across the radar.
You
Yeah,
guys gotta watch Prisoners.
I'm just surprised because Denis Villeneuve, like, he's blown up by now. Like, and he only has a few movies.
This is a messed up movie. This movie might ruin you, but it's worth a watch.
I'm excited. I have no clue, any idea of what this is about. I'm assuming Prisoners. Other than that, that's about
Not
as much
in the
as I
way
got.
you think. It's not about like literal prisoners in the way you
Then
think. But
I have no idea then because
gonna
That's
be interesting.
about
I want to watch Brian watch that movie. Like, it's such a weird. It's a weird movie, but it's not up Brian's alley.
I went last challenge was oh crap, I'm drawing a blank. The Magician movie.
Oh,
Prestige.
yeah.
Prestige.
Also starred
Christopher
Hugh
Nolan.
Jackman.
I'm getting all these P movies. Apparently, all the best movies start with the letter
Starring
P.
Hugh Jackman.
Starring Hugh Jackman. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So wait, is Hugh Jackman in this one too?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he's
I
the
just
lead.
realized that too. Yeah.
Perfect. Bring it
There we
on.
go. From now on, only Hugh Jackman movies and only movies that start with a P. That's what we got to do for Brian.
That's not true. Star Drew, you are right. I did get Gone Girl. So
That's right. Wow, you're challenged a lot, which is fitting.
you've been
I'm the
Yeah.
most fun to
Great.
challenge because I have a Rolodex of movies.
That is
So,
very true.
I'm excited. Sweet.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm actually really curious to hear Brian's thoughts on that movie. So check back next week and he'll go ahead and review it for us. All right, so let's get into a couple, I guess they're not news topics. They're some teaser trailers for some upcoming HBO Max series and some very exciting stuff going on here. So first up, we got the Peacemaker series, which is the spinoff from James Gunn, the Suicide Squad. And apparently they released a teaser clip recently. And Gio, you were saying, can you give us a little bit more info on why HBO is releasing these clips now?
So HBO Max finally debuted in Europe, and they had a whole presentation online of their content, and they decided to drop some teasers, clips for their highly anticipated upcoming shows on the streaming service in 2022. So that's what's going on.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's important to know because even before we started the show, I was asking Gio, hey, what's the deal? Why are they releasing all this stuff? So that's good to know. But I'll go back to you, Gio. You're a big DC enthusiast. I'm not sure what Sean Wingblade's stance is on the DCEU or DC properties in general. But it looks like he's a big fan of that stuff. But I'll still shoot to you first, Gio. This Peacemaker teaser, no action or nothing like that, just a little taste of what we might get to see in the series. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, if you saw the Suicide Squad, then you knew what was happening in this diner. But those of you who hadn't seen the Suicide Squad are probably like, who is this Peacemaker? And who are the others sitting at the diner table? Now, two of them are Amanda Waller's assistants. The standouts for me. I actually enjoyed them in those roles, and it looks like they're going to be more front and center in this series as well. I had questions about this before the Suicide Squad. You know, what exactly are they going to do with a character like Peacemaker and John Cena? I mean, it's just still surprising how quickly Warner Brothers greenlit this project. Meanwhile, we're finally getting the Flash movie next year. That's just interesting and funny.
So they say.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed what I saw. I know what I'm getting as far as John Cena as the Peacemaker. He is somebody who's having so much fun playing the character. He's so humble, and he was pretty damn good in the Suicide Squad. One of the standouts for me. And yeah, James Gunn directing 5 of the 8 episodes, all written by him. or at the very
Wow.
least co-written, and it's one of those reasons why you have HBO Max is for content like this, and they are expanding these movies, this universe, and giving side characters, lesser known characters, an opportunity to be fleshed out on these shows. So yeah, looking forward to it. We'll definitely see more next Saturday, and looking forward to that.
Yeah, it was a pretty short clip, but definitely gives us just a little bit of the tone what we could be expecting. Sean, I'm guessing you are a big DC fan, so I'm curious, did you like the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker in it, and what did you think about this clip?
Yes, and I enjoyed it. It was short and sweet, to the point,
Yeah.
and you get more of the same flavor and comedic genius, I suppose, that James Gunn brought to the Suicide Squad. I'm about to be interrupted right here. I heard the door open. And you see the same like ball busting comedy that we got from those same characters inside the office, even though we didn't see them very much. They weren't obviously a central part of the movie. But there was a lot of, where is this movie going to be featured? Is it a prequel? Is it a sequel? Is it somewhere in between? Mm-hmm. And so if you haven't seen the movie, I guess, we're kind of spoiling it. The teaser itself spoils it if you've seen it. It happens, when it happens. But I'm excited. Yeah. I love this brand of comedy. And so I'm all for it. And, they were just relentlessly shitting on him the whole time. And it was hilarious.
Yeah, I honestly thought, because this character's crazy, which we saw in the movie, I thought he was just going to get up and kill all of them.
Yeah, right.
Honestly, because that's how unpredictable he is. Like, who knows what he's thinking? And I don't think it's a spoiler. Can you guys help inform me? Do we know when this takes place? Is it afterwards?
Yes.
It is afterwards? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a spoiler.
Yes.
If people haven't watched the Suicide Squad by now, then they don't want to. Right. Brian, did you have any different thoughts on this? Did it maybe not work for you, or did it?
No, I'm for it. I have a feeling I'll probably end up liking this better than Suicide Squad movie, just because it's like, I don't know. He was a hilarious part. There's not too much going on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying not. I think I hyped myself up for Suicide Squad too much, that it killed Suicide Squad a little bit for me.
Yeah, you weren't like super excited coming out of the theater. I remember.
No. In my theater being my couch. Oh wait, no.
No, we went to the theater. We went to the movie theaters to
watch it again.
Together.
Somehow I was waiting outside of your door. Brian,
I
what
watched
you think?
it again. I tried watching it again. That's why. But yeah, I'm trying to stay a little bit more subdued with this one. He was hilarious in like easily one of the best parts of the movie. So I'm curious how they can do this. And honestly, I think this is something that DC should be doing, is if they're going to explore characters that are not big enough to have a standalone movie, why not do it this way? Like, I mean, I think DC has a plethora of not your namesake characters such as Superman and Batman and Green Lantern and Flash, that you can do things like this. And like, it shouldn't be that difficult, that you can maybe then integrate into a movie. I mean, not every character needs to start out with a solo movie. I'm not saying
Thank you.
What?
No, thank you for saying that.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't. I mean, look at like, I don't want to compare Marvel, but like, you can grab a character like Moon Knight, who is not a namesake right now, give him a TV show, make people interested in him, and then you throw them into movies. I think this is something that, if successful, DC will probably start looking at and going, okay, well, we should do it this way. And I'm hoping that's what they do, because they, like I said, they don't have, or they do have a lot of the not Batman, Superman. So why not? So I'm hoping it's a success because then it kind of starts something new, and it looks hilarious.
And I mean, we're getting the movies too, the Blue Beetle and the Batgirl movie. So they're already showing us they're willing to do like movies with these characters on HBO Max. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Overall, I like this teaser. Like I enjoyed watching this clip, but I was a little like underwhelmed because look, this character, they made him a comedic character in the movie, but also he's a very action-oriented character, and we didn't see any action in this clip. I wish they would have cut away and showed like 10 seconds of him just whooping ass real quick or something. Like how they do that a lot in trailers where they show people talking and they cut away and show like an action scene. This character is an action character, so I would have liked to seen a little bit of action, to be honest.
Have there been announcements?
Saturday.
Have there been announcements about the antagonist of the series or who he's going up against and fighting?
I mean,
God.
I mean, he's kind
there
of
was
there was
Gunn put out a cast list, I think, like a week ago, maybe. I can't remember who was on it.
Is it? Give me a second.
And don't get me wrong, I know there's going to be action in the series. There definitely is. I think they should just go into that a little bit more in the marketing, and I think they will. I think Gio's right. When we see them expand on the marketing a little bit more, then we'll definitely see some more of that.
And Cena can do it and do all the physicality. He had that great fight scene and in the movie, and it looked really good. Obviously, his wrestling background doesn't hurt, and I think that this type of comedy too is playing to his strengths
of
an actor, and kind of like that awkward goody two shoes with obviously a dark tinge to his motivations and his sense of humor. Yeah.
And you know what? That brings up a good point. You have to surround him with a cast that can like play to his strengths, and those characters, I don't know what their roles are necessarily, but they were working with Amanda Waller in the movie, and they're a good fit to go with the Peacemaker character, I think. Yeah, like they can kind of he can kind of bounce off them, which is pretty cool. Gio, did you have any more info for us on that?
I'm looking.
No worries.
There was a rumor, and
if you remember, just let us know. Awesome. So I think we're all excited for this show.
Next weekend, he'll let you know everything.
Next Saturday.
Absolutely. So we have another
this coming Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah, it's next Saturday, right? Like 2 Saturdays from now.
The 16th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We do have another HBO property to talk about, and that is the teaser for House of the Dragon. And this is the Game of Thrones spinoff series taking place about 200 years from the series that we all watched and loved. And I watched the Peacemaker clip first, and I was like, oh, that was cool. That was funny. And then I watched this, and I was just like, freaking my hairs on my arm standing up. I'm not the biggest Game of Thrones fan in the world. I'm not the most knowledgeable Game of Thrones fan in the world, but I love Game of Thrones. And I've been missing something since Game of Thrones ended, honestly. I love Mandalorian. I love these other shows, but I don't think in this modern era, I don't think anything has come close to like the kind of following that Game of Thrones had, where like it's an event. People are meeting up, having potlucks, having dinners, like around watching just an episode of TV. I don't think this series is going to reach those heights, but I love this. I love seeing this. I love dragons just in general. So I know we're going to get some. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, are the dragons still alive, right? During this time.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, anybody else?
That's how they got their power, was through the dragons.
Yeah. So it was a teaser, didn't show much, but I'm just excited to see this again. See the fighting, the knights, the dragons, the blonde hair with the Targaryens. It's exciting. Sean, are you a Game of Thrones fan?
Yes. Yeah, I'm a fan. And I didn't hate the last season as much as the whole internet did.
I didn't hate it. It just wasn't my favorite season.
I wasn't a huge book person, so maybe I wasn't as attached to, this happened, that happened, etc. I was just going along with the series. I liked it a lot. It was fun. It showed the action that we're used to with the sword battles and stuff. Exactly. It showed
Yeah.
the intrigue and maybe some backstabbing, some a lot of political machinations, which is a lot of
Yes.
before it got into the supernatural part of Game of Thrones. That's what the first 3 seasons was really about.
Gore and
There's-
politics.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
And boobies.
And boobs.
I was
Lots-
gonna say
lots of boobs.
nudity too.
So I'm sure we'll see more of that too. And you see Matt Smith rocking the blonde and a lot of other
He
colorful
looks so
characters.
good.
It looks good. Yeah,
Matt Smith fits this world so well.
Yes.
It's always tough with a prequel. They have a lot to live up to because you know where the story is going to end up, and it's obviously so publicized within the story of Game of Thrones that you know that the downfall of the Targaryens. So how do we get there? And are we going to actually? Can they make us care about these characters that we know are all just going to die and or become pieces of shit or backstab each other? So that's the challenge of the show, and I hope they live up to it because I'm still excited to watch.
Absolutely. Brian, what'd you think, man? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. Love me some dragons, so that's always a good thing. I love Matt Smith. He is such a just good. I mean, I'm assuming his character is an a-hole because he plays an a-hole. Just
that face he's making is just
yeah,
perfect.
I mean, the Targaryens were next to the Starks as the people you wanted to know the most about, and I guess the Lannisters.
There just wasn't a lot of Targaryens around in the original series, right?
Yeah, 2, and 1 dies after the first.
Isn't that in season 1?
Yeah,
when he dies.
It's in episode 4.
Yeah, so
still one of the most epic deaths in the whole series.
He got his crown. He got his crown.
Yeah.
So I mean, we didn't really get much Targaryens, and you're 100% right that there hasn't really been that event type show, and I'm curious to see how this plays out. If the ending of season 8 hurts or helps it, because I'm wondering, well, if season 8, the season finale or series finale, was the greatest thing ever, would this hurt this one's chances because people are going to be comparing it it needs to be on the same par, or since it was not so much loved, are people going to be oh, this is really good right off the bat? Because I mean, the last time you got it, people were whatever. Or is it going to be season 8 ruined it for me? I don't really care.
Lowered expectations can help a lot when you're trying to venture into a new direction.
I think so too. So that's why I'm kind of excited to see. I mean, if they come out swinging, people are gonna jump right back on this train.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm curious to see where it goes, and yeah.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but once Game of Thrones ended, the HBO subscriptions went. I think they cut in half or something.
It was the most pirated thing of all time, and I mean, people were desperate to find ways to watch it without.
And but the actual paying subscribers went down a lot. So I think, along with all the other stuff they're doing, the DC stuff and moving Harley Quinn and Doom Patrol onto HBO Max, those type of things, and then bringing a Game of Thrones series back, or at least a spinoff, is going to help HBO Max for sure. Gio, you're also a Game of Thrones fan. How'd you feel about this teaser, man?
I liked it for a lot of the reasons that you guys stated. I didn't know Olivia Cook was in this series as well.
Oh yeah, she was cast pretty early on. Yeah,
yeah, that's great, and I'm curious just how many seasons they're going to give us, because they're going to do a couple more after this. I don't think this downfall happens in just one season.
At least 4 or 5, I would say.
4 or 5,
at least.
Yeah,
they'll milk this cow as long as they can.
Oh yeah, of course. And like you guys said, while the last season of Game of Thrones may not have been as strong as the previous ones, especially 7, in my opinion. People are definitely going to watch this, but they're going to kind of get a feel for it, like what are these first couple episodes going to be like? And if you start off with a lot of dragons, then boom, there you go. You've got everyone's attention. So, yeah, hopefully George R. Martin finishes his book before this ends, but we'll see about that. And I'll definitely be watching this for sure.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Does anybody know the release date of this? I can't wait.
2022 it says, yeah.
So
I was looking
long.
at the cast list. There's not, at least on the known cast list, there's not a ton of well-known names. Graham McTavish is in there. He's always fun. Matt Smith, Olivia Cook, you mentioned.
January 1st.
Rise Iphans.
January 1st?
There's no way this is coming out January 1st.
So everyone's going to be watching it hungover?
Right?
No.
Hey, while you're laying on the couch.
Yeah,
tune
exactly.
on in.
Is it first a Sunday?
It's
must
a Monday,
be, right?
No, it's a Monday.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure.
Well,
Wait, I could be
No.
wrong.
We'll
I'm
see.
pretty sure the first
It
first
must
is
be a Sunday, right?
First
They're-
is a Saturday.
Oh,
Okay, so that's
interesting.
definitely not right. There's no way they're dropping this on Saturday. No
Why
way.
not? Why not?
On the 1st? Probably not. Because
There's no way.
it comes out around what, 7 p.m. or 6 p.m.?
When was the
Normally-
last time you ever saw something released on a Saturday?
Well, also, that's New Year's Day or New Year's, yeah.
Day.
So I don't know. Yeah, day.
There's
So
no
we'll
way.
see.
Maybe the second because it's a Sunday, but there's
Yeah,
no
then
way.
you're just like a 2-day hangover. Like
Two
just-
worst days to drop stuff: Fridays and Saturdays. There's no way they're
Well,
dropping.
I mean, we don't know, but it would make sense for them. It used to air on Sundays at it was either 5, 6, or 7 p.m. So I would imagine they would go to that again, unless there's another show that airs at that time. So we'll see. Gio, when does Peacemaker come out? Do we know?
January as well.
I think it was
Yeah,
ended
all these
this year. I thought it
questions,
said
man. What do I-
November,
what do I look
December.
like?
I
We
thought
will
you were the
find
DC
out.
expert, Gio.
all this soon.
January. It says January 2022 for Peacemaker.
Wow. So we'll get maybe we'll get both around the same time.
There's no way they would play them both at the same time, though. They
Well,
wouldn't,
not
unless
like-
they're doing opposite days, because Game of Thrones owned Sunday nights,
No, for sure. I
Oh.
definitely think it would be different days of the week.
like a Thursday, Friday, and a Sundays type of thing.
Yeah,
I'm also
possibly.
curious to see if they drop this competing with football. Because if they're going to drop this Sunday nights,
It
That
says
could be
Saturday. The
So,
first.
hey, maybe Gio's right. Maybe it is Saturdays because the NFL is actually extended. So it's a week.
Mm.
So you'll have football all the way until like mid-February. So I think that maybe Gio's right. Maybe they want to avoid it. Maybe it'll be Saturdays. We'll see.
we'll see.
I'll be chilling on my couch watching House of Dragon. So
Well, and
House
if
of
it's
the Dragon.
HBO Max too, if they're just dropping it at midnight and they don't have a release time like they would on HBO,
That's a good point.
channel.
This is since Game of Thrones ended, HBO was a cable thing, right? And they
Right.
eventually added HBO Now and Go or whatever, right? And
Mhm.
you could watch them, but it was like premiering at a time,
Yeah.
right? So I have a feeling because HBO Max is a streaming service, so does it come out midnight on like Friday night, midnight going into Saturday?
That's what I'd
That
be
is a
willing to
great
bet.
point to bring up. We'll see. I mean, I'll probably be waiting up until midnight then. Maybe they're getting ahead of it.
Who
And
knows?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll find out. We'll
Because
find out.
they're not gauging their numbers like a Netflix or a Disney Plus. They're
That's a
not
good
gauging their
point.
numbers of prime time viewing. They're just like who watched it within the first 24 hours to 72 hours. They got the whole weekend. They don't just need the 1 hour time slot. They got time.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll see. We're excited for both these shows, and we'll definitely be covering them both once they come out. So stay tuned. For those of you who joined us to talk about Venom, we are going to get to that in a minute here. But really quick, we do want to plug a review that we have coming out tomorrow morning. So Keith and I have seen. And Brian, if you can get the clip queued up for us. Keith and I watched The Many Saints of Newark. If you've been watching our channel, you know that Keith and I are big Sopranos fans, and this is a Sopranos prequel film that has finally came out, and our full spoiler review is going to be coming out tomorrow morning. We're going to play a short clip of that for you right now. And the movie follows Dickie Montesanti, and he's the main character. And I think the marketing may have not made that clear for everybody, but that's who the movie focuses on. And if they just made a movie about this guy and it wasn't Sopranos connected, I would have still enjoyed this movie because it's fresh. It's something that we don't get a lot of these days. And then you throw on top that it's involved in the Sopranos world. It's connected to all these things that we learned about in the show. And you and I were just talking about even more than we even thought originally. Yeah. And you're showing these characters that we're familiar with while obviously having the main guy, Tony Soprano, actually be maybe a top 2 or 3 main character in this movie. I think it worked, man. As far as keeping it in the world, but also giving us something new.
Absolutely. We get the seeds of that relationship that he had with his Uncle Dickie.
Yeah, so if you can check out that full spoiler review tomorrow morning on the Apocaflix YouTube channel. Also, Keith and I, we're going to be doing a live in-depth spoiler discussion. If there's any other Sopranos fans out there, anybody who wants to talk about this movie live with us, tomorrow night, Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on the Barley and Barnes YouTube channel, we are going to do a full spoiler discussion. So come join us or tell your friends if they're big Soprano fans. It's going to be fun. Come join us. So, alrighty. So we're here to talk about Venom 2. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the Sony Marvel Spider-Verse film that some people were looking forward to. Some people maybe were not. I definitely was looking forward to it because I love all comic book movies, or I'm excited. I want all comic book movies to be good. So we're just going to dive in.
The soundtrack, Venom.
Yeah, I know, right? he did do a song. Eminem did do a song for the soundtrack, but probably not as good as that Venom song, which I actually liked. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk full spoiler reviews on Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and then we're going to talk about the future of the character, which, if you saw that mid-credit scene, could be hinting towards some big things. And everybody here's seen Venom, right? I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. Yes, awesome. So let's get into it. I mean, let's open the floodgates. What do you guys want to talk about? Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
This was the perfect length movie.
Oh,
perfect length movie. That's the best thing you can say.
No, I'm just gonna go for that right off the bat. I know people immediately were like an hour and a half, for a comic book movie. Any longer in this movie would have been like, oh my god, stop.
This was the longest 90-minute movie I think I've ever seen. That's just how I felt sitting there.
Yes.
And I knew the runtime, so I was like, wow, I feel like I've been here for 2 hours already. Oh, hey, we finally meet Carnage. I'm like, we've been here for so long. Not to say, I would give it a mild thumbs up. If you enjoyed the first movie, you will enjoy this movie. It's just more of the same. So maybe that, because I was watching the first movie earlier in the day to kind of remind myself. So maybe that's why I felt like it dragged on. But it was just more of the same, and I felt like they didn't do anything too different with. Even though it was a completely different director, we had Andy Serkis directing it. It didn't feel like an Andy Serkis movie. It felt exactly like the first movie. Granted, Andy Serkis doesn't have a lot of filmography. He hasn't directed a ton. So what does his movies feel like? It's not like he's Michael Bay or James Cameron, where it's their movie type of thing. So I don't know where I'm going with that. But overall, mild thumbs up. I enjoyed the first one enough that I'll enjoy this one, but it's not something I'm rushing back to see.
I think you bring up a good point, because at least us here at Apocaflix, when we watched the first movie, I remember we did our review and we were like, there's some promise there especially with the relationship between Eddie and Venom. And we were like, if they get a new director in and do something different and build upon the first movie, but maybe do it better, then they could have something pretty good. And just the fact that they got a different director,
Mhm.
whether it's Andy Serkis or not, was a good sign. But I agree with you that they didn't improve upon the problems from the first one,
Right.
in my opinion. Gio, general thoughts? Did you like the movie? Hated it? What'd you think?
So, if I could go back and talk to my past self a week ago, and I would say, hey, go to the box office, take the ticket, and trade it for Shang-Chi, because you still haven't seen Shang-Chi yet. And
You still haven't? Oh
not.
my god!
I have not. And I wish I watched that instead of this. I did not enjoy this movie. My first red flag was the fact that it was going to be PG-13, which means they were going to water down a lot of stuff. And when you have a director like Andy Serkis, it kind of defeats the purpose, because I feel like Andy Serkis in this movie, it felt like it looked like he really wanted to go in certain places, but he just couldn't, because Sony wanted the PG-13 rating, which for myself doesn't make sense. I mean, you have Venom, you have Carnage, you saw the success of Joker, you saw the success of Logan, you saw the success of Deadpool. It's like, don't be afraid, take that chance. But
They can't. They can't with Venom. Venom trapped itself into being funny enough for kids.
I think that's what they. I honestly think, because this movie is basically a comedy, right? Like,
It's PG-13 Deadpool.
It's basically a comedy, and I think they think that like they can connect with, like, families can go watch Venom. You know what I mean? I think that's what they think, and it's like, and not to cut you off, Gio, but I agree with you that I don't think, every comic book movie has to be rated R. That makes them better. I don't think that, but I think this movie specifically, it would have been a better fit for. Why? Because you have Cletus Cassidy as the villain.
Yes.
You
in
have a
this movie.
serial killer and two symbiotes that eat brains.
Exactly.
Like, the whole movie was about that.
And I didn't love them. I barely liked the movie, but I actually enjoyed Cletus Cassidy in this movie. I really did. And I thought if they could have gone a little bit further,
because you enjoyed
that.
Woody Harrelson being a good actor.
Yeah.
True. That's true.
That's what I found myself doing.
And I'll just say, because that ties into how I feel, is like when I was watching the movie, and sadly, while I do still like the Venom and Eddie relationship, they were just going too far with the comedy. So every time they were on screen together, I was like annoyed. But then when they would switch to Cletus and what was going on with him and Shriek, I liked that stuff. I actually liked their storyline. And I just feel like their storyline needed to be rated R for this
Their
movie.
storyline had structure. That's why.
And that it did. And I liked it. I liked the connectivity, the younger versions of them. And I actually liked Naomi Harris in the role. I thought she was great. And so I enjoyed that part of it. And it could have been better. But the part that doesn't work for me is like Venom coming out and talking to Eddie and just all that stuff. It's just like, I liked their relationship more in the first movie, to be honest.
Oh, really? See, now I liked it better in this one. I think because this one, I knew to expect the nonsense.
True.
And I think what this movie did is played into the fact that it knew it wasn't a good, like, one of those like quality MCU movies. It knew, I think they've realized Venom's not, at least the way they're doing it, it's not going to be this like amazing, groundbreaking movie or even like top tier, like, because it felt at times like the movie was making fun of itself and its characters, which kind of sucks because Venom is like, could be like easily one of the most popular characters if done right. But I think for me, I knew what to expect coming from the first movie, and this movie just did the exact same thing without like trying to be that serious, like it was like how the first one was marketed. Like it knew it was going to be ridiculous,
Yeah.
and it kind of just played into it.
That's
I
kind
think
of a good point.
I think that kind of helped me. Listen, I'm not saying this is a great movie. I'm telling people to go out and see it, but I just found myself like rolling my eyes, like chuckling at certain things because I knew it was going to be ridiculous. There was no part in this movie where I was like busting out laughing, but there were multiple times where I was just like, like that, like knowing it was ridiculous because, like I said, Sony is clearly trying to make Venom their Deadpool, but enough that everyone can see it. Like it's not rated R. Like Wingblade said, like so that the kids can be taken to it with their parents. Because I mean, Carnage is one of the most like violent villains in like comic books, in Marvel's Rolodex at least. And I mean, the most crazy thing he did was stick his tongue down the guard.
That's the most violent. I'm surprised they even showed that. But for the other parts, he's just throwing people against the wall. And it's like, I'm sure they died when he threw them against the wall, but it's not violent enough to like make this character. Like I wanted to be scared of Carnage watching the movie, and I wasn't.
No. To speak to Brian's point and to jump back to Game of Thrones earlier, lowered expectations, right? So if you maybe that's why there's a slightly more positive tinge to this one, just because you knew what the first one was and this one wasn't going to.
And it also helped that I had a free movie credit, so I walked out of here knowing I didn't pay for it. So
I saw it in 3D. I forgot, and not worth the extra cost. I don't think there was anything too crazy. But I only spent because I had a free movie credit from Cinemark. Shout out to Cinemark. It only cost me $3, so I'm good with that.
Nice. I mean, Venom should be a cool movie to see in 3D, but it doesn't sound like it added anything for you.
I don't think there was no standout. I feel like that it's at least nothing that's sticking in my head. So
yeah, for sure. And if anybody's wondering, we're definitely going to talk about that mid-credit scene and what it could mean.
Go for it.
I mean, we could if you guys want, but I just think, look, we have some time here, and I think, is there anything in the movie itself that you guys want to talk about? I know it's weird because it kind of like got erased, but
what was her name? Is her name Mrs. Chen from?
No, from the liquor store.
She might have been my favorite part of the movie.
Mrs. Chen. I liked every time Venom was in someone else, which is funny because that's like the opposite of what you should. I loved Annie's relationship with Venom.
That was
like
good.
He likes
liked
her
her
more
in the
than
movie.
like he seems Venom likes her more than Eddie, and like she likes Venom, and it just like, and I love how they had to like, look at, we're making her girl Venom again for the 5 seconds like we did in the first movie. Like that part was clearly like put in there.
Just to do it. She had so much more. I don't want to say she had more to do in this movie. I felt like she was miscast in the first movie. She was just so bland in the role. Like it was like maybe she didn't realize what she was signing up for or something. But in this one, she got like, I feel like she had more fun with it, especially in the scene with Miss Chen where she's trying to get Venom out of her. And she just like, she was like just asserting her force and actually just going for it. I appreciated that extra aggression in her acting style, at least for that moment. So I like Michelle Williams in the sequel way more than I liked her in the first one, for sure.
I think that's another one where it was like, she now realizes this movie was not like the serious MCU.
Yeah.
So she had fun with it, right?
So this time it was much more relaxed and just like whatever type thing. Because her character was not like a super serious, brokenhearted. Like she was making jokes and cracking like quibs here and there and stuff. So I think, like I said, I think the actors realize that this isn't a serious comic book movie. As
my favorite part might be the comedy between Venom and Dr. Dan. Dan.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
So
He-
I was
this
gonna
dude-
say,
This dude's just like, what did I get myself into? But I'm along for the ride. Let's do it. Let's.
I love
he
that
has no idea what's happening.
I love what they did with that character because what they normally do in these type of movies with those characters is they either kill them off or they make them like look like a fool or they make them be an a-hole or something, right? He's actually a nice guy and he actually goes there and lights Carnage on fire.
Right.
And I'm like, that takes balls. Like I probably wouldn't be there doing that. Like, so I love when they do that because they easily could have made him like be a douchey guy or something, but he was actually a cool guy who had a lot of courage. So that was another positive for sure. Gio, did you have? I know you borderline disliked this movie, hated it. Was there anything else in the movie itself that stood out to you that you maybe liked or disliked?
Say one nice thing about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Normally we're searching for negatives, but for Gio, we're searching for one positive.
I thought Carnage looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
The CG, the graphics.
The
And-
graphics, the
and
whole
that-
spikes, the like tails. I think I read somewhere Andy Serkis was like, or one of the VFX designers was like modeling Carnage after like a scorpion and how a scorpion stinger would
that's
attack.
cool.
Okay.
And,
Did you hear
I thought-
that they finished the VFX for the movie a week before it dropped in theaters, and that if it hadn't been pushed from the first time, it would have been like crappy and unfinished.
Oh.
Like the
I'm not surprised to hear that.
Andy Serkis was the one that said that too.
Wow.
I mean, that just goes to show you that, sometimes while the name of a director might be exciting, just how much studio interference and control that they have over that kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean,
stuff.
how many times did that freaking release date change?
Right. And then it
3
moved.
times?
And then it moved up though 2 weeks. It
It
was
went-
originally like the 15th.
It got
I think.
pushed again, and then came back
Right.
earlier than it did the original date.
Yeah.
Or
I think-
second move.
Speaking to CG, I think my favorite part was probably the scene at Ravencroft when they're in the cop car and he's right before Shriek shrieks but when he's attacking the I think it's a helicopter. That whole sequence I think was top notch CG. It looked amazing. The whole movie looked really good, but that was my favorite sequence. It
Yeah,
looked real.
that's
it looked
an
like you could
improvement.
touch. Yeah.
That's an improvement off the first one because the big battle at the end of the first one did not look good,
Right.
especially on the big screen. This one, I didn't have much problem with it. Like I thought Carnage looked incredible. I don't necessarily love the look of Venom, honestly. Like I like the
I'm the same.
design. I don't
I'm
like
the
the
same.
CGI on Venom. I like
Mhm.
the design of it, but it just doesn't look. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't look.
It
like,
doesn't look
tangible to me.
Venom-y.
It
It's
looks like
ju-
paint or something. I don't know how to explain it.
Mhm.
It's because it's like a black, gray, white mix. It's not. I hate it. That is one of my biggest complaints about the way of Venom is he looks crappy. He always looks crappy. Carnage looked great. Had no complaints with Carnage. Venom again still looks like crap to me. I don't like it. I
it's
really don't like the
weird,
way
like-
Venom looks.
Yeah, I hope they can improve upon that in the future. And I think if he appears in any non-Venom movies, maybe he'll look a little bit better.
Well, yeah.
Um,
Watch.
if
He's
no,
going, I swear to God, if he gains the white spider symbol,
I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
that's probably.
But
and it's just
how?
like,
how?
And shout out to Pardis in the chat. And speaking of Shriek, where did she get her powers from? Why
Just
did
always had them.
Why-
did you notice they called it
in-
a mutation?
that I did notice that, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. But just some random one individual in the whole world, I guess, this has a Shriek powers, and maybe more in Ravencroft that we didn't find out about.
Mhm.
But I don't know. They just didn't touch on it. No explanation, just whatsoever. You just have these canary powers,
Hey, they got the 90-minute runtime, man. They ain't got time for that. They just,
right?
Yeah.
I assumed that, and Ravencroft's the name is like the asylum that they were at,
Mhm.
right? Or the
Yeah.
facility.
That Ravencroft is like their Arkham.
Right.
Okay, so I assumed that there were other people with abilities there.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I assumed. Like
Yeah.
that's how I kind of pictured it. And I guess Cletus was just
Crazy
a
enough.
killer, right? Like he just
Yeah.
crazy enough. Like super dangerous people are sent there. Basically, yeah, it's basically like their Arkham. That's a perfect way of putting it. For sure. Well, we all know where this is headed. Like this review, I mean, and that's talking about that mid-credit scene. And wow, I like people that saw it before me were texting me, "Did you see that mid-credit scene?" I'm like, "No, stop talking about it. I haven't seen it yet." And then I finally went and saw it, so I knew why everybody was so excited.
Before we got to that, at the very end of the movie, when he was basically saying goodbye, I thought he was going to say something to the effect of, "I have to go back to New York," like because they say in the first one they got kicked out of New York, and then you do see a shot of the Daily Bugle as one of the articles he was reading when he was doing research.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
I thought he was going to be like, "I have to go back to New York," and then they could very easily, because the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is long gone, unless they obviously pull him into the new Spider-Man. He could have been the Venom of that universe somehow,
Yeah,
and maybe that's where he gets like the spider thing, and because we never saw Garfield actually work at the Daily Bugle.
We know it existed though.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's a good point, because that's important here. Is the Daily Bugle in Venom's universe is a newspaper, but in the MCU it's a internet vlog type thing. So that was crazy. And anybody watching, I hope you've seen the movie and you've seen the clip. But basically, and this is crazy because we don't necessarily know what everything means here. Venom tells Eddie, "Hey, like us symbiotes, we have like how many years?" He says like
we have the knowledge of
like
1,000 universes or something like that. Yeah,
of 1,000 universes and so many years. And he's like, "Your mind would melt if you knew about it all." And he's like, "Let me just show you a glimpse of it." And as soon as he does that, like the room starts shaking, everything starts changing, and even Venom is like, "What the hell's going on?" And so is Eddie too. And then those of us who are in the know are like, "Oh shoot, he's like going into another universe or something." And the hotel room's different. There's a guy in the bathroom and he sees the news broadcast that we saw in Spider-Man Far From Home, where Peter Parker's revealed as being Spider-Man. And Eddie's like, "What are you doing?" And it seems like Venom can take over anytime he wants. Like Venom has all the control. And really quick, do you guys realize how much powerful they made the symbiotes in this movie? Like they can just like enter a computer and access the whole like internet worldwide, like those type of things.
That was interesting to me because I didn't know that they could do something.
They made the symbiotes very powerful, and basically, so like if Venom wanted to, he could just take over Eddie's body like 100% of the time. If it seems like that, and then I don't know why he licks the screen and says "this guy," but that's what he did. Gio, you told me, or I think you've said that's the best part of the movie. I think you tweeted that out. So why is that the best part of the movie to you?
Because it confirms a theory that, a lot of us have had for the longest time about where this universe is going, and the fact that Sony really wants to build out their Spider-Man universe separate from the MCU. It's looking like they're going to tie it into Tom Holland's, maybe his last movie. This is just the theory. It's pure speculation. I know nothing, Jacob. Okay. But it at least told us where this is going. I just wish the movies were a little bit better, so that way I could be more excited about it.
I'm dreading Sony getting even a finger into the MCU. I'm dreading it.
Well, they've
I mean, they already do though, but they're not going to have any control on anything that happens in like a non-Venom movie.
I don't know. I mean,
they have final say.
They get a lot of push though, because they get all they have to do. I mean, I'm sure there's contract or whatever, but all they have to do is go, "We don't like that. You can't use Spider-Man for that." and it's just like,
Do we
Wow.
know? Was Kevin Feige possibly a producer on this movie?
I don't think he was.
He was
Since they-
probably a consultant, but I don't think
Since
I
they
saw
tied
his
in at the
name.
end.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to remember if I saw.
I'm
it.
sure because basically what they did is anything that happened in the first two Venom movies will not affect the MCU
It
at all.
literally doesn't matter. Yeah.
So Kevin Feige didn't have to approve anything in the movie. I think he might have. I bet you he had something to do with the mid-credit scene.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 100%. Because
They
that's
must have showed it
MCU.
to him.
Yeah.
And did you guys know like the color palette change? Did you guys
Oh,
notice
yeah.
like the color palette
Well,
changed?
Yeah.
And
it's a different. It's like a
background,
different
yeah.
timeline.
it
it-
looked like it looked cleaner,
Brighter
like it
and
looked like the
brighter.
MCU.
hmm
Part of me
more.
almost kind of like would think it's kind of it's a like way out there, but like almost makes me feel like Venom is in Andrew Garfield's world versus Tom Holland's world.
And look, it's
Mhm.
nothing against Tom Holland, okay? His movies are successful, but I feel like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man would more because Tom Hardy, I mean, that's a huge age difference between Holland and Hardy.
Yeah.
You're talking about like a middle-aged man and like a kid,
Mhm.
essentially.
Well,
I mean,
Sean
you-
said earlier
That's
that
why
you
I
were
said that, yeah.
speculating that Venom's already in Tom Holland's universe, and that is that what you were saying, right?
In Andrew Garfield's, because we never.
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah, in
we
Andrew
saw-
Garfield's universe.
Yeah, we saw him graduate high school, but we didn't see him. And then all the events of the movie happened in the second movie. He never went to work as a photographer.
hmm
So
I mean,
he
and
could
they
have-
live on the opposite side of the United States. So, like, what effect does it really have?
It's not
Right.
like Spider-Man's gonna go to San Francisco to fight this villain, like maybe,
Yeah.
but I doubt he would. But no, I could see that, and then they could say that because look what we're seeing is we're seeing villains from each movie go in, and you could say, hey, that Venom's from because obviously it's not going to be from the Tobey Maguire universe.
Mm-mm.
right.
No.
'Cause that was obviously a different one.
And you guys know when Venom was said, I want to show you something. I thought he was going to show like images of the Spider-Man 3, like because if they're all symbiotes and they have this knowledge from 100 million universes or whatever,
Right.
wouldn't some symbiote in some universe experience that fight against Spider-Man with Sandman and all that? And I thought he was going to show that. And he's like, here's what another version of me experienced. But then obviously that's not what we got. But I mean, we could see stuff like that going forward. So what do you guys like? What do you guys think like Venom's going to appear next? Is he going to appear in No Way Home? Is he going to appear? Are we going to see this in Venom 3? Like, when are we going to see this come to fruition?
We have a lot going on in No Way Home, but I think we have confirmation or heavy rumors that Aaron Taylor Johnson is Kraven, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But was that for a show or his own movie? I thought it was for a solo movie.
it's
Movie,
for his
right?
own movie. They have a director.
So okay, so I would imagine that we would see Venom as a post-credit or mid-credit scene in No Way Home. And then that sets them up on a collision course to possibly also get Kraven involved after his movie drops, and then somehow bring around a Sinister Six between it all.
I mean, it all
then-
comes down to how much is Feige going to let the influence of Spider-Man in that universe into the MCU.
Mhm.
Because if he doesn't want Venom touching his like multiverse of madness, all of like that stuff, then he's not going to have him in No Way Home, because then there's no point.
Mhm.
But if this is something where we're going to see Venom crossover, I have a feeling this is just going to be kind of like a way that they could like put Spider-Man into theirs after this one, after No Way Home.
Yeah, some people have speculated that we won't even see Venom until Venom 3, and that Spider-Man, that Tom Holland will be in Venom 3. Some people have speculated that.
He probably.
And,
I mean,
that'd be
I
a
have a
long
feeling
time to
Tom
wait.
Holland's going to have like, and I hate how this sounds, like some stupid type of thing where he can jump in between universes.
Mhm.
And he might go to Venom's one where all of Sony's stories are happening, and then jump into the MCU one where all of these other stories are happening. Like, I mean, I have a feeling that's what that black and gold suit we've seen in No Way Home is going to be able to do.
Who the hell gives him that suit though? Like
Doctor Strange.
Or a piece of Venom somehow, a piece of a symbiote. You know,
that's
the trailers early, they could still be doing effects on it. You know, well, I mean, but he is running around with just the suit, and no.
I'm dreading.
You
This
guys want to
honestly,
hear a theory?
I can.
Or no?
no.
I don't know. I can see a world where Venom makes an appearance, maybe has a little fight of some kind, or somehow at the end of the wrap up of the Multiverse of Madness type, you know, whatever story is going to be happening, he gets sent back to his own universe so he can have Venom 3, but a piece of the symbiote gets left behind.
That would make sense.
Attaches to our Tom Holland Spider-Man, and then he gets his own Eddie Brock or Flash Thompson. I think he was a Venom in the comics as well. So they could go that route.
I agree with you, RD. Venom's not going to be in the MCU.
Mhm.
Spider-Man is going to go into
Sony.
As
far as we know, he went into the sacred timeline
through
I
a
guess.
post-credit scene. He's not
Yeah,
going
so
to
Venom's
jump
in the MCU right now.
They
Yes,
wouldn't-
he's
they
in
wouldn't-
it, but he's not going to be interacting
You
with
mean you
the
don't think he's gonna
Avengers
appear
or-
in the MCU movie?
There's no way they would tease that though, and that big of a thing without paying it off somehow. It maybe minor, but not. He's not going to maybe have his own movie, but he'll be a character in it.
I don't think you're going to see him running around with Doctor Strange or anyone like that. I think if anything, Spider-Man's going to go to him.
So I was wondering when we saw the post-credit scene, and I'm thinking, okay, why does Venom see this and take a huge interest in it? Because the comic book history and animation history, whatever, we know Venom hates Spider-Man, right? He doesn't like him and he has it out for him. So I was trying to think about in my head, why would they have a conflict? And I'm thinking, so what do they do in the Venom movie the whole time? It's like Eddie's trying to hold Venom back from just killing any random person, right? He's trying to basically help Venom do good, like not just kill innocent people, right? And Venom's like, I'm a beast, I have to eat. And so basically what they come to agreement on is that, like, okay, we can kill like guys like Cletus Cassidy, we can kill villains, bad guys. The news clip that Venom sees on the screen is of this guy, Peter Parker, killed Mysterio. And so the first
he doesn't
time
even see him, he just sees him, Spider-Man in the suit, right?
Yeah, but it's the news broadcast of
he has his mask off.
J. Jonah Jameson saying that Spider-Man's a menace. He killed Mysterio. So Venom's first exposure to Spider-Man is as a killer, as a villain.
Mhm.
So we know that's not true. But now, what if Venom's like, why can't we go after this guy? Look, he's a killer, and then he goes after him, and that's how they fight. That's how I thought of it in my head. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's not. I didn't put that together, but that
because
totally
why else would they go after him? You know,
I would have said just fan service. Like you already
no,
know.
that's a good point, but there has to be some narrative to it.
They didn't
right?
explain anything in the Venom movie anyway, so why do
like
these
I said, Sean,
characters have
90-minute
powers?
runtime? Okay?
I know, right?
Hurry up.
I don't not like your theory. I just like mine more because I came up with it. But I really think they might tie in, like, oh, Andrew Garfield was my my Spider-Man. My thanks, appreciate that. I got delivered food. Because it's twofold, right? And I didn't read all the comics, so I'm only going off of my knowledge from the cartoon and the movies.
Yeah.
Eddie hates Peter Parker.
That's true. Yeah.
And the Venom symbiote hates Spider-Man because he got rid of him. You know, he didn't stick around with the black suit Venom or symbiote Spider-Man. So it's twofold, and they come together to fight him. And then they're that anti-hero thing. So maybe Eddie Brock, the reason he left New York in the first place is because he got shunned or embarrassed or something by this new hotshot photographer, Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. 2014, so 7 years ago when the movie came out. So that's plenty of time for him to develop from 14 to 18 when the first movie came out, when he had just come to, San Francisco. They could tie all that together somehow.
Well, it could be all of that, and then he sees the Spider-Man of this universe who killed some random guy, Mysterio, and he's like, "Oh, look, this Spider-Man's bad too. Let's go get him." So it could be both. Gio, you said, do we want to hear a theory? Is it like something that you know for sure, or just something you thought of yourself?
I mean, I don't know anything for sure. Like it's all rumors.
Is it a rumor going around?
Yeah, it's a rumor. It was regarding the suit that you talked about, but
no, go ahead. I mean,
no, it's fine.
If it's not hard facts, then it's all speculation.
Well, no, I was gonna say that Doctor Strange is the one who gives him that suit because we see in the trailer an explosion at the Sanctum, and the theory is Doctor Strange is heavily wounded and gives Peter a suit and says, "Go clean up your mess and send them back to their universe." So, I mean, that's kind of the theory regarding that. But what I was going to say before that was, remember, they only have 2 movies left with Tom Holland, Marvel. And while it would be cool for them to re-up the contract, Sony really wants their own universe. So somehow within these next 2 movies, No Way Home, which, like Sean said, it's packed. That they have a lot of stuff. I mean, you're talking about 3 Spider-Man, 6 villains, the whole, Peter Parker getting exposed. There's a lot already happening. It makes me think, like, will Tom Holland's final movie in the MCU before he goes back home to Sony be Multiverse of Madness? And how packed is that movie already getting with all the theories?
So are you including Spider-Man No Way Home as one of those 2?
Yes.
And was he rumored and or confirmed to be in Multiverse of Madness, though?
No, but that's the theory because, it's believed that No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness,
it's like a part 1, part 2
kind
type
of like
situation,
tied together.
Right?
It would make sense for him to be in it. I mean, at least in some capacity.
Right.
I'm still confused about like what actually starts the Multiverse of Madness. I'm guessing it's what happens in Spider-Man No Way Home.
I think it's everything. It's everything from Loki to Wanda to
WandaVision
to Doctor Strange. It's
and
a little bit of everything.
And What If?
Yeah, and What If as well. Yeah, we got to watch it. I really think we're going to see Venom in the close and or post-credits scene of No Way Home, meeting face to face somehow, some sort of interaction, which will lead to their own Sinister Six movie, which will end up being like Venom will be one of the 6 and then end up realizing he's on the wrong side and fight along to defeat the other 5. Yeah. And then that could also correspond back with leaving this universe, this MCU universe, and going back to Sony. And that could be the final movie, is their own Sinister Six, boom, back to Sony. And then exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I always wondered how, if they ever do end this agreement, like how they would do an out,
Well, the multiverse kind of.
Yeah.
But
I can't imagine like Tom Holland just gets stuck in the Venom universe, and like, does he lose Aunt May forever? Like, what?
Yeah.
Does he lose everything that he ever knew? Like his friends? Do all his friends go with him? Like, or does that character he's stuck there alone now?
They might do a trade-off too. Like, hey, you can have Peter Parker, the figurehead, back to Sony. Give us Miles Morales, and we'll build our own Spider-Man from scratch, type of thing.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, they've hinted towards him existing.
Or Ben Parker.
existing in that world. I mean, or a female, one of the female
Mhm.
characters in the
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man universe
Spider-Man.
too.
Are they still doing? Is Olivia Wilde still doing the Spider Woman? Is that what she was doing,
Supposedly.
or is it
We
Madam?
haven't heard that it's canceled.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, Sony's notorious. They've got 97 different things.
I'm waiting for the 21 Jump Street Men in Black.
oh
crossover
my
still.
goodness, I still can't believe that.
Silver Table movie.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a black and silver or something like that. So
Oh yeah,
and
Silver
Black.
and Black. Yeah.
Silver and black, yeah.
It's interesting that Sean, you said Sinister Six movies. Sony, I mean, this is a rumor, but Sony very much has plans to do their own Sinister Six by reintroducing villains.
Sure.
Marvel is just kind of beating them to it by saying, "Hey, we're just going to bring back the OGs because the current storyline, makes it all possible and sense from a logical standpoint. You have the multiverse. Why not give Kevin Feige the access to pick whatever characters from past Marvel non-MCU movies and do his own thing?" So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that could
Who
make
knows?
sense.
I think we can all agree it should be in Kevin Feige's hands.
Oh, of course.
Whatever it ends up being.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
but I don't know. Before Venom Let There Be Carnage, I was actually like, okay, Sony could actually go places with characters like Venom and Carnage. They could do, because they're not under the Disney family friendly band, like parent company. They could go places. Maybe Marvel does that with Deadpool 3, remains to be seen, but that was the beauty of having the MCU, Sony, and then Fox, was that you had Marvel kind of do its own thing, but then like you could do a Logan. You could originally, it was going to be an R-rated Venom. That's what Tom Hardy signed up for before Sony changed it last minute. But it's just, it's everybody wants the MCU money. They want the long-term and returns on investment and all that. And it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a good point about Morbius.
I completely forgot about Morbius.
Yeah, which we don't know if it's going to play a big role or not, but it could.
We could sit here and speculate what they're going to do for days, and we'll never know. Just the way Sony's operating.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, give Sony some credit. They were doing. I liked what they were doing with the Amazing Spider-Man universe and the Oscorp, and getting Dane DeHaan to play Goblin. It was just executed poorly, but I like what they were setting up. That's part of the reason why I'm so excited for No Way Home, is because you get Andrew Garfield back, and the character gets some closure, but also a second chance.
they're going to kill him.
Who?
No,
Andrew
I don't
Garfield.
think any of them are going to die. If anything, they'd kill Toby.
I think one of them will sacrifice themselves.
I think
an old man
they're
Peter.
going to kill Andrew Garfield so that way he can exist in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man world.
Oh, so Tom Holland can
have Tom Holland take over?
Because Gwen Stacy's already dead, and they don't have an MJ.
They never introduced it. An MJ. Well, they were supposed to. It's supposed to be Shailene Woodley, but they cut her out of the movie.
Well, they cut Tom Holland out of the first Venom movie.
Did they?
That was confirmed, I believe. He filmed a scene that
I think I remember hearing about that.
John Schnepp broke that on Collider.
Oh, okay.
Wait, who did what?
Tom Holland filmed a scene for the first Venom movie. They just didn't. They never ended up going with those plans.
I think I remember hearing about that at the time when it was like when Venom hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
And we were hearing about it. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Well, again, we could talk all night about this, but I just want to get your guys' final thoughts on, we already talked about the movie. We either barely liked it or hated it. That's how we feel about Venom, Let There Be Carnage overall. But I'm just so torn. Like if I had to put money on it, I don't know if I would say whether or not Venom is going to appear in an MCU movie, because it seems like that's what they're setting up. And I think what you're saying makes sense, Brian, that Kevin Feige probably doesn't want it anywhere near it. But I don't think they would have done that post-credit scene if he wasn't. And there's also barely any room in No Way Home, so it's going to be tough. But if I had to put money on it, I would lean that yes, we're going to see Venom in an MCU film somehow, some way.
Mhm.
What do you think,
Agreed.
Gio?
I mean, yeah, at least one appearance. And maybe that was part of the deal when, because
100%. 100% Sony put
Mhm.
that. Venom gets
That
to be
makes
in
sense,
some part
yeah.
of it. 100%.
if I'm not mistaken, Marvel and Sony, they're on a second contract. The first one was an appearance in Civil War, a solo movie, or I think it was like a 3-picture or
It
something
was
like that.
it was 5. The first one was 5.
First one was 5.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. He's
Oh, because it was
appeared in 5
2
movies
solo
already?
movies, and then it was
3
Civil
appearances, I
War,
believe.
Infinity War, and Endgame, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense because that
Now
was a
you
whole
got
story arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Way Home and one more. So
Yeah. And I think the whole thing after Far From Home, they re-upped it prior to the movie coming out, when all that drama was happening,
Mm-hmm.
and like I think there was there was a report came out that Tom Holland called like
yeah, he helped facilitate it.
he called him drunk or something. Like there was a whole news story about it.
Mm-hmm. That he like begged
Please,
him, like,
I
yeah,
love being in the MCU.
yeah. No, that may. Hey, if I was Tom Holland, I would do the same things.
Use your power, bro.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Fight what you want.
Well, there's definitely a lot more to come. We can learn new information every day. So we'll find out sooner or later what's all going on here with
One little quick fun
Sonyverse,
fact.
MCU, all that.
One little quick fun fact. The cop detective guy
Oh God.
becomes a symbiote.
I was wondering about that guy. So
His name's
what was
Toxic.
that at the end when
yeah.
he was like monsters and his eyes lit up?
His name's Toxin. He's in
There
the
you go.
Let There Be Carnage, or not the Let There Be Carnage, Maximum Carnage storyline in the comics.
I had no idea what that was.
It's just another symbiote.
Dwayne Burke commented that on one of another stream we were doing with on another channel, and that's same thing. That's exactly what he said. I guess he's like a split personality disorder. Sometimes he's good, bad, etc. I had no idea.
I'm wondering if any of that even matters. Like, is Venom just going to go back to his world and it's just picks up where it left off? Like,
Who knows? We'll never know.
Yeah,
until that happens.
We'll never know until it happens. Well, yeah, well, that'll do it for our spoiler discussion of Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, watching, and leaving your thoughts in the comment section. We truly appreciate it. Before we get out of here, I'll let everybody say bye and where you can find them online. I'll start with you, Gio.
Yeah, of course, you guys can find me on here every Tuesday for Apocaflix Now. I also partake in Marvel Rewind and Fandalorian Club when that returns. And Fandom United, my channel where we talk everything Marvel and DC. That graphic is outdated. It's now Fridays. But yes, come join me, and quite a bit of DC fandom previewing to do, and some exciting news on the Snyder Cut front. I got to bring it up at least once every now episode. So yeah.
Even years from now, Gio will be like, remember the Snyder Cut?
Yeah, remember when you said it didn't exist? It was a pipe dream. Yeah.
I'm waiting to get it on Black Friday.
That's not a bad idea. Brian Avalosino, what else you got going on, man?
When I'm not doing Apocaflix stuff, I am on A Certain Point of View with Jake. If you're into the Schmodown and all that movie trivia nonsense, you can find me and Jake over there. Oh, thank you, Gio.
Awesome mug. Yeah.
I have a whiteboard. I'm ready for trivia.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, we play trivia sometimes here too, just for fun. So you should join us sometime.
Still
Sean
waiting on
Wingblade, thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. Where can the good people find you online, man?
So many places, so little time. I got a wife and kids. Online at Sean Wingblade. I put it in the live chat just so you spell Sean correctly, like Sean Connery, SCAN. Watching with Wingblade, alliteration on Twitch. And I am merging in a bit to essentially join Jesse Swift's channel, which is Flickin' Real. The letter N right there in the middle. We're doing a lot of stuff together. So we're kind of merging our stuff together, doing shows together. We have a show we have like a hangout show Sunday nights, 11 p.m. Everyone's invited. Come hang out.
Awesome.
We'll send you the StreamYards. Grab what you want to drink and come hang out, or don't. You got to work in the morning, whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can find me, hopefully at least one more time, if you like the Schmodown, once again, on the Movie Trivia Schmodown's Twitch channel in part of the First Class League. And I'm hoping to get one more match before the end of the year. There's a few weeks left, and we'll see how I do. I won my last 2 matches, so trying to end the year on a bang.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Good luck. All right, you can find me on Twitter at JacobBarley824. If you play fantasy football or a fan of the NFL, I have another YouTube channel called First Round Fantasy where we talk about fantasy football and who you should start and sit each week and players to adding stuff. We're doing an episode tomorrow at 9 a.m., so come and join us. And also, don't forget, Keith and I, we're doing you can find our spoiler review for Apocaflix on the YouTube channel tomorrow morning. You can also come join us tomorrow night on Bartley and Barnes and listen to our full live spoiler discussion of The Many Saints of Newark. Come check us out. Come talk about the movie with us. We're going to get in depth on what it all means for The Sopranos and if we could possibly be seeing a series or movie again in the future. That's going to do it for
0-4 in fantasy, sir. 0-4. And I blame you guys.
We say second round advice that, we're amateurs. That's what you come to us for. But yes, thank you for watching Apocaflix Now. We appreciate it. You can find us here every Tuesday. Yes, Sean.
Brian, are you watching the game?
Oh, update on the
away
Yankees.
for 1 second.
Red Sox game.
They win.
Yay!
Spoiler alert.
Whatever.
Was that the wild card game to get in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I've said to my friends, obviously I want them to win the World Series, but if they just knock out the Yankees, I'll be happy.
Vindication.
Hey,
Let's
Yankees
go. Giants,
fan
Red
here.
Sox. Let's go.
Damn.
Yes. Let's do it. We're going to do a watch party.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Yes, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. You can find Apocaflix Now. We're gonna do a review of the season finale of What If, the Marvel show on Disney Plus. That'll be out later this week. Come check us out, and we'll see you guys then.
Bye.